You are welcome everyone to another video tutorial. Today we want to look at JSX. So what is JSX? Actually, JSX stands for JavaScript and XML. JSX is the addition of HTML and JavaScript. So in other words, JavaScript plus HTML is equivalent to what? JSX. So when you combine JavaScript and HTML, you get this called JSX. So let's see how JSX work. So I'll go to my app.js. Let me close all this. Now, if you notice in our code, this is pure HTML in our code. Div tag, h1 tag. This is just pure HTML. So when you combine JavaScript and HTML, the result is what? JSX. On a norms, you shouldn't be adding HTML into JavaScript code because it won't run. But with JSX, it's possible. So let's see one of the examples I'm going to give. If peradventure I do this, I say const age is equal to 12. Now age is a variable here. I can add this age inside this HTML tag by doing this. So if I come here, let me change this to I am. So if I put age here, this is just a mere HTML. But if I want to include JavaScript code into HTML, I have to wrap it into inside a curly brace. So I put a curly brace, then I'll put age, the variable age. So you can see that I am that years old. So if we save this now, we should be getting I am 12 years old on the browser. So let's wait for it to compile. So let's wait for it to compile. It's taking time to compile. Okay, it has finished compiling. So if I go to the browser, you will see, you've seen that I am 12 years old. So you can see the ability to combine JavaScript code to what with HTML. The ability and the process for doing that is called JSX. So I can also write another one, another variable. I'll come here and I'll say let job equal to developer. This is a JavaScript variable called job. So if I want to add it, I can say I am 12 years old and I am a web developer. I'll put the variable job here. So if I save this, what do you think you get? You should be getting I am 12 years old and I am a web developer. So you see that for yourself. So this is the ability to combine HTML and JavaScript is called JSX. You've seen the examples already. So let's look at some of the features of this JSX that we are looking at. Now we'll talk about JSX makes it easier to write and add HTML in React, which I've shown you earlier. On top level element, just what is called on top level element. Now the HTML code must be wrapped in one top level element. If you have more than one HTML, tag here, it's advisable to wrap it into one parent element. Take for instance, if I take this out, let me take everything out. I say return h1, good girl gone bad, good girl gone bad, good girl gone bad. Let me take away this JavaScript code out. Now, if I save this, this will run because I only have one HTML element. So if I go to the browser, I should be seeing good girl gone bad. You see, it ran. Now, immediately I place a second HTML element. There will be a chaos. There will be chaos. So if I come here and put H2, you can see the chaos. You can see the chaos. Say no scrub. No scrub. So you can see there's a chaos now. You can see the error on your screen. So on top level elements, whenever you have more than one HTML element be displayed, you have to wrap it in a parent div or a parent container. That is what the on top level element is saying. So if you like to write two paragraphs, you must put them inside the parent element like a div element. So let us now place these two inside the parent element. So I'll cut this out, then I'll create a parent container, can call it div. So inside this div, I'll paste those my h1 and h2 here. You can see there's no more error because I've placed it inside a container called div. When I save this, go to the browser, you can see good gear gone bad, no scrub. That is what that JSX principle is talking about. So elements must be in closing tag. Well, for instance, now I have some elements here. If I want to put something like an input, let's say an input tag, input. If I do like this, sorry, it's not the way we do that. If I do like this, there will be an error. So it has to be self-closing tag. You see that? So that's one thing you should know about JSX. Let's look at another features of JSX. Use class name instead of class. By default, JavaScript sees class as a keyword or a reserved word. So you are not allowed to use it in JSX, although it's going to work. If peradventure I want to give this a class, this will go work, but you get an error on the console. So it's advisable to use what is called a class name. So I'll come here and put class name. Good. You see that? So I urge you to use the class name. If you use the class, you get an error on the console, but your code will be working, but you get an error on the console. So because JavaScript sees class as what? As a reserved word or a keyword. So if you notice now, if you keep typing JSX here on this app.js or any of this stuff here, it will become elongated, it will become lengthy. So the best thing we are going to do, we are going to start creating components that will free a lot of space in this app.js. So if I create a component, I'll just save it and import it in use, so that this our app.js will be less code. There will be less code in this app.js. So in our next class, we're going to look at components. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next class.